While looking for some content inspiration, I found this unique video stating the fake 3D rotation of the can, which is made using Figma. When we have the design ready, we can give life to it. For that, if you observe the original effect, there are two different layers, which have two different colors. Then we have the can itself. Next are the wrappers for the can. We have two of them. Then the background texts and the fruits images. I am using the images similar to the original effect. Now let's give life to this effect. Start by adding the first layer element, and let's give it an ID called Layer 1. Next, set its height to 100 view height and width to 100 view width. Next, we will focus on creating the can. For that, start by adding a container called Can Container and set its width to 200 pixels. Inside which add the can image as shown. On adding the image, the height of the can container got auto-adjusted, but the can image is overflowing out the container, which we need to fix. For that, give a class name to the can image, and then set the width of the image to 100% of its parent width. Next, adjust the can container to center by setting the display to flex to the layer as shown. Cool! Now let's add the wrapper image to the can container and also provide a class name as wrapper to it. The wrapper has to be overlaid on the can. To do that, set the wrapper's position to absolute. But if you observe, the height of the wrapper is more than the height of the can. The wrapper has to be from here to here on the can, which is almost 90% of the can container's height. So set the height of the wrapper to 90%. Next, align the wrapper to the center by translating it as shown. For height adjustment, I am changing the translate Y value. This might vary depending on the wrapper image you use. Now we need to turn this into this. The first idea which I got is to play with the opacity, but that doesn't work. Then I discovered a magical CSS property, Mix Blend Mode. Mix Blend Mode defines how the element should blend with the parent and the contents of the parent. So set Mix Blend Mode to multiply for the wrapper, and done. We can see how the wrapper blended with can. If we change the background, we can also see the other contents. Next, hide the extra contents by setting overflow hidden to the can container. Then, inside the layer, add a text element in front of the can container as shown. Now adjust the font and color of the text as shown, and finally set its position to absolute to move it behind the can. As we have initially set the align items and justify content to center, for the layer element, the text got placed at the center. Next, add a container for the fruits. Add the fruits images inside it and place it next to the can container as shown. Then set the fruits container's position to absolute. Now we need to arrange the fruits in this way. For that, target the fruit images, set their position to absolute, and place them at the center by applying the following transformations. Now target each image, set their width, and translate to desired position, which will look like this. Now we have layer 1 ready. Next, we will create layer 2. For that, make a copy of layer 1 and change the background color, change the wrapper, change the background text, change the fruits images, and then change the fruit sizes and positions. We have layer 2 also ready. Now we will make the animation. For that, above both the layers add a checkbox with ID as toggle. By adding above, we can target both the layers using the checkbox. Now add a label within the layer to check and uncheck the checkbox. Similarly with the second layer also, and finally hide the checkbox by setting its display to none. If you observe the original one, the animation happens when the checkbox is being checked. So when the checkbox is checked, target the layer 1, can container, wrapper element, and set it to left -50%. The image is moving directly. A transition might fix it. After little trial and error, I found this to be the ideal timing function. Now we have a smooth transition. Similarly, when the checkbox is checked, target the layer 1 text element and translate it to left 150%. Finally, target the fruits and fruit images and translate them as shown. Now coming to layer 2, the elements are arranged when toggle is checked, which is the reverse of layer 1. So when the checkbox is not checked, target the layer 2's wrapper and change its position as shown. Similarly, translate the text, fruits container, and fruit images as shown. Okay, now we have the boss level animation left, which is this sliding over of these layers. For that, first overlap each other by setting their position to absolute and adjust their Z indexes as shown. Now to make the layers slide, the first idea I got is to animate by width, which turned out to be a bad idea. Then, I found another magical CSS property, clip path. Clip path property creates a clipping region that sets what part of an element should be shown. So if we set the clip path from 0, 0 to 100, 0, then to 100, 100, and finally to 0, 100 for the layer element, we will be able to see the entire layer. Then, when the toggle is checked, if you bring these 2 points to here as shown, you will have the effect ready. Now that we have this effect ready, you might want to show product benefits with this unique cards effect. Click here for that.